Dear students, you are welcome to my online teaching classes. I am Shishpal Chauhan and today I have brought the text of the poem To India, My Native Land by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, and this is in English. My country, in thy days of glory past, a beauteous halo circled round thy brow, and worshipped as a deity thou wast. Where is that glory? Where that reverence now? Thy eagle pinion is chained down at last, and growling in the lowly dust art thou. Thy minstrel hath no wealth to weave for thee, save the sad story of thy misery. Well, let me dive into the depths of time and bring from out the ages that have rolled a few small fragments of those wrecks sublime, which human eyes may never more behold, and let the burden of my labor be, my fallen country, one kind wish from thee. Okay, let's begin the stanza-wise explanation. Stanza 1. My country, in thy days of glory past, a beauteous halo circled round thy brow, and worshipped as a deity thou wast. Where is that glory? Where that reverence now? The eagle pinion is chained down at last, and growling in the lowly dust art thou. Thy minstrel hath no wealth to weave for thee, save the sad story of thy misery. Growling means lying low in the dust like a slave, showing that you are very weak, helpless, or defeated. Explanation. The poet expresses deep sorrow over the decline of India. He recalls the glorious past when India was respected and even worshipped like the goddess. At that time, India had a spiritual and cultural brilliance described as a halo, but now all that is lost. India has been enslaved by foreign rulers, that is British, and her freedom, like an eagle's wings, has been chained. The poet, a bard, laments that he can only write about India's sadness instead of celebrating her glory. Stanza 2. Well, let me dive into the depths of time and bring from out the ages that have rolled a few small fragments of those wrecks sublime, which human eyes may never more behold, and let the burden of my labor be, my fallen country, one kind wish from thee. In this stanza, the poet says he wishes to go back in time and collect the remains of India's great past. These fragments are like precious treasures from a time now lost forever. Even though the past glory cannot be fully restored, the poet wants to keep its memory alive. He asks for nothing in return, only a kind of blessing from his beloved but fallen country. Short answer type questions. What picture of India does the poet present in the first stanza? The poet describes India's glorious past when it was admired and even worshipped. A beauteous halo symbolized its greatness, but now it lies in misery and disgrace, enslaved and powerless, like an eagle whose wings are chained. What does the poet want to do for his country? The poet wants to dive into history and recover fragments of India's proud past. He hopes to remind people of the country's lost greatness and earn nothing but one kind wish or blessing from his fallen motherland. Third question is, what is meant by eagle pinion is chained down? Eagle pinion refers to the strong and free wings of an eagle. The poet uses this image to show that India, once powerful and free, is now bound and helpless under colonial rule. Question 4. Why does the poet call India his fallen country? The poet calls India fallen because it has lost its former glory and independence. It's no longer respected as it once was and has become a land suffering under foreign domination. Question 5. How does the poet describe the role as a minstrel? A minstrel or bard, the poet feels helpless. Instead of singing songs of praise for his country, he can only write about its sadness and lost glory, the sad story of thy misery. Long question. 1. Discuss the patriotic feelings expressed in the poem To India, My Native Land. In To India, My Native Land, Derozio expresses his intense love and sorrow for his country. The poem is filled with deep patriotic emotion. In the first stanza, the poet remembers India's past glory, where it was seen as divine and adorned with a beauteous halo. However, now it lies in misery and disgrace. He compares India's downfall to an eagle whose powerful wings are now chained and unable to soar. The image reflects India's loss of freedom under British colonial rule. The poet sees himself as a minstrel or bard who should be praising his country, but instead he is forced to write only about its misery. In the second stanza, Derozio wishes to go back into history to collect fragments of India's glorious past. Even though that greatness cannot return in its full form, he hopes to preserve the memory. He sees this as a way to awaken the spirit of his fellow Indians and to remind them of what they once were. He asks for no reward, for only a kind blessing from his country. Through these heartfelt lines, the poet reveals his undying patriotism and desire to restore the dignity of the motherland. His grief is not of hatred, but of deep love for a fallen India. Question 2. How does Derozio compare India's past and present in the poem? Derozio draws a painful contrast between India's glorious past and its sad present. In earlier times, India was admired, even worshipped like a deity. A beauteous halo symbolizing wisdom, beauty, and power circled its forehead. The country stood proud and respected among nations. However, under British rule, this splendor has faded. India now lies growling in the lowly dust. Its wings of freedom, the eagle pinion, have been chained. The poet sadly notes that as a poet or minstrel, he has nothing to offer but a record of India's sorrow and downfall. In the second stanza, he longs to go into the past to collect whatever remains of that golden age. These wrecks sublime are treasures of memory. Although they cannot be fully revived, they serve to keep India's soul alive. Derozio does not expect material reward or recognition. All he wants is one kind wish from his motherland, which he loves deeply despite its fallen condition. This emotional contrast between past glory and present pain powerfully conveys the poet's nationalist feelings. It also serves as a reminder to the people of India to awaken and work toward regaining their pride and independence. Okay. Thank you very much, students. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and share my video with your friends. Thank you very much.